Power consumption technique can be applied at each and every level wherever you can do it, be it a schematic level, or it can be designed multi-level threshold, multi-level VDD. You can use various techniques at the design stage. Okay, or changing the activity. Less activity is there, 1 to 0, 0 to 1 transition, less will be the power consumption. Okay, so power consumption is not that it can be applied only at one way or only at one level. It can be applied at every level, and every level will have its own ways of reducing power consumption. It can start from algorithm and can go down till layer. Okay, so here my aim is first of all how to choose the correct architecture or algorithm which can lead to a fast addition, and here my aim is to get a carry-free addition. And in carry-free addition, we have come down to a situation where we are storing the carry along with the sum bit. We are not propagating it further, and then we are going through 2-3 more addition steps in order to bring the all digit sets into the normal digit sets that we have chosen for ourselves. I think this is what we did last time. Okay, so we are looking at the redundant number system or redundant binary number system. Because my digit set is, again I want to work with radix 2, but then I am choosing a digit set which consists of 3 digits. So we saw the example with 0, 1, 2, and we saw the example with -1, 0, 1. You can choose digit set 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nobody stops you. But as I said, we want to reduce the switching activity also, because that also gives you a benefit in terms of power consumption. And also it makes addition fast, because less number of ones are there, less will be the processing you would be required, because the adding zeros means you are not adding anything. So adding zeros, we want more number of zeros in our sequence, so that we get a benefit both in terms of delay as well as in terms of power. And in this quest, we have seen that in a redundant binary system, a digit set of -1, 0, and 1 helps a lot. -1, 0, and 1, and this is what we did last time. Okay, so we said that if you choose a -1, 0, and 1 digit set, then this 1, 1, 2, 0, 2, 0, which was taken as a sum of two binary numbers, it can be converted to 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, all digits coming into the digit set, or all digits are in the range of 0 and 1, which are falling in the digit set 0, -1, 0, and 1. So we are still getting all my results back to in the RB digit sets. RB means redundant binary. So I can do my addition this way. This is an algorithm. So we have developed an algorithm for ourselves. Now you can use this to now design a circuit. Because method is there. Now algorithm is with me. I need to only implement it, and this will give me a carry-free addition. Now where will this help you a lot? When you add multiple number of bit numbers. Multiple bit numbers. Like I add 6 10-bit numbers. I add 7 10-bit numbers. Multiple additions are there. Now here I am not talking of only 2-bit or two number additions, because carry free really gives you advantage when you add many additions. So you are adding some 10 numbers, each 10-bit. You are adding some 20 numbers, each 10-bit. Why am I telling this? Because ultimately I am finding an application in multipliers. I am finding an application of this algorithm in multipliers, where you have so many PP rows, 32 bit numbers are getting multiplied. How many PP rows will you get? Partial product rows. How many PP rows you will get? You are multiplying two 32-bit numbers. Or okay, let me take two 16-bit numbers. How many PP rows you will get? 16. So 16 numbers will be added together to get the final answer. Similarly, 32-bit, 32 cross 32. 32-bit PP rows will be, 32 PP rows will be there. So this really helps you a lot when you go for a multiple additions. Okay, so this algorithm, it's now this is no longer limited to only 2 number additions. All my previous architectures that I developed, they were for 2 number additions. We were taking two numbers and we were adding them together, two parallel numbers. Sorry, two 10-bit numbers suppose, and we were adding. We were not talking at that time of multiple additions. No. So now here, because now I have developed a method which is going to help me and I can see the benefit of it. Now I can extend, I can make my expectations more. I say, why adding two numbers? Let me add 10 numbers. Let me add 16 numbers. Let me add 32-bit numbers. Okay. So this is what you are actually doing. So this is an example which you can yourself go through. Normal, redundant RB digit set 0, 1, 2. This is shown for a 0, 1, 2 digit set. You can convert it to -1, 0 and 1 digit set. It can be converted. And then you can compute how many addition steps are required to get the final answer. Less the number of digit sets less the number of addition steps you are getting, more fast is your addition process. Fast is going to be the addition process. Remember that. Okay. Now let us see how to implement. Okay. How to implement. So now look at this example. Anytime this is also an addition step. You would have got this answer also through an addition step. Okay. So this is also an addition step. Remember. And this is adding. So if you want to add and you want to implement a circuit, it would be full adder. So which we call as a 3:2 reduction circuitry. 3:2 compressor. Why? Because it takes 3 inputs and produces 2 output. We call it as a 3:2 compressor. So I know I can implement my algorithm by using a 3:2 compressor. Okay. So it will have 2 digits as my operands, 1 digit as my carry, and then I can add and can produce a sum bit, and the carry will go to the next bit. I will not be propagating it. It will be stored along with the sum bit of the next. That is why it is shown diagonally. It is shown. We are not. It is a carry save kind of a implementation we are looking for. I am not propagating. I am storing it. The carry is stored, and that stored carry now will be added up in the next addition step. But it will be stored. It will be stored along with the sum bit of the next bit. Clear? So I would be making use of a 3:2 reduction circuitry, which is nothing but a full adder. So now if I show you how to add, how many numbers? So just an example. Now I am anticipating that I am working for a many numbers adding together simultaneously. So how do we represent now? How to apply this carry save algorithm, a stored carry format algorithm. So we represent the addition process through a dot notation. Now I am not using a PG diagram. To represent my addition process here, the dot notation representation is used. Okay. How many numbers I have taken? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 numbers. Each number is 6 bit. So 7 binary numbers are taken. Each number is a 6-bit number. And then I need to add them together, and I need to add them fast. At the same time I need to add them with minimum resources. So minimum number of adders, full adders, half adders, whatever you are choosing. Okay, minimum number of resources or hardware count. So now if I represent my carry save algorithm over here, how would you represent it using a dot notation? You are adding 7 numbers. So I can add these 3 together. I can take full adders, 3:2 compressors. It can add these 3 bits together. Because a full adder, now I am not saying there are 2 operands and 1 carry. I am saying it has a 3 inputs and 2 outputs. That is why 3:2 compressor. So give it a 3 bit. It will add and produces 2 outputs. So this is how I am saying. So to add these 3 bits, I need a 3:2 compressor, a full adder. I need a full adder here, a full adder here, a full adder here. Similarly, I can have a full adder here, a here. So how many? 12 full adders in this step. This will be remaining as it is because this cannot be taken care of in the first addition step itself. All these 3 bits, they would be added simultaneously. They would be added simultaneously by using 12 full adders or 3:2 reduction circuits or 3:2 compressors. Okay. Now, once you have the 12 full adders, what's the next addition step? What will be the output? First addition step is over. Now come to the next. So in the next addition step, what do we have already with us? So we have a sum and carry coming from this. So sum and a carry coming from my first full adder. This will also produce a sum and carry. So sum and a carry. Clear? Similarly, this will also produce a sum and carry. So sum and carry. So we are not propagating carry, we are storing carry. I am going to store the carry. So carry will become a one of the bit for addition in the next addition step. One of the bit for addition in the next addition step. Okay. So similarly, this will also give me a sum and carry. This will also give me a sum and carry, and then this row comes as it is. This row comes as. This is a situation that we have in our second addition step. This is what we have in this. Now, I will again go through the second addition step. Second addition now I have to perform. So in the second addition, I can take these three together through one full adder, add. These three can be taken together. I can have a addition. And so I need 6 full adders to perform all these additions. Only 2 rows are still remaining. So we are keeping them as it is. They are not touched. They are not touched. Now we come to the third addition step. Okay, here what do we have? What is the status we have? This will produce a sum and carry. This will produce a sum and carry. This and then these two are remaining as it is. Remember, this will produce a sum and a carry. Okay, and then below the sum, these two are coming as it is, which is coming below the sum. Just a minute. This is producing sum and carry. This is producing a sum, carry coming from previous, and these two bits coming as it is. Clear? Okay. So keep on doing this as it is, bit by bit. So you will have again the status will be like this. After you perform your second addition, this will be my status. This is how the bits will be arranged for me. I need to add now. Now this is over for me. Addition is over for me. This I can write as it is. No need to add, perform further addition here. But here you have 4 bits. Again, you have to go through one more addition step. This will be one full adder, 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 one full adder. This row will remain as it is. So if you again do the same process, this will yield a sum and a carry, and this bit comes as it is. Okay, similarly here also a sum and carry, this bit comes as it is. And one bit coming from the previous step. So there is a one coming from the previous step. Okay. So now again, since again you have 3 bits remaining at every bit location, so again we need to finalize. One more full adder step, one more addition. So how many additions we have gone through? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then finally in all these 4 steps we are using full adders. And then here finally when you come here, you are left with only at a point 2 bits at every bit location, which I can perform by using only half adders. I can perform that operation by using only half adders. So which I can do. Sometimes what people they simply use a carry propagate adder or simple RCA at the last step, because there is only 2 bit numbers which are getting added. So at the last step, I can even use a ripple carry adder. Okay, but if the bit length is very large, n is very large, n is not 6, here n is 6, but n is very large, RCA will take a lot of time. I can replace RCA with a CLA. I can replace, here they are using for every bit location, they are using a half adder. I can perform the last addition at every bit by using a half adder. It would be a carry free addition, so there's no need for a full adder over there. Even that is also a possibility. Clear? So now we have performed 7 number additions. In how many addition steps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 addition steps, and in every addition step there is no carry propagation. Had I taken an RCA, how much time I would have taken for the worst case combination? At a time you would be adding only 2 numbers. So if you have parallelism, there are 7 numbers. In the first step, I would use 6 RCAs. No, not 6, 3 RCA. Two numbers you will be adding at a time. And then worst case condition, every RCA will be taking 6 unit delays. 6 unit delays. Then in the next, one more addition would be required. One more addition would be required because one row is remaining. So it would be 6 and then 6, 12. It would have taken you the 12 unit delays. Here I can say that every addition step is only 1 unit delay. So I am taking only 5 unit delays. So instead of going for a typical conventional method, I have developed an algorithm which is a carry-free, giving me a carry-free operation and is able to finish addition of 7 6-bit numbers in only 5 addition steps. And that too without any carry propagation. Here I am assuming every addition step means 1 full adder, that means 1 unit delay. That means 1 unit delay. So aim, why we have taken this concept is that designing at the schematic is not the only way of making the addition fast. Using logical effort is not the only way to make the addition fast or any operation fast. No. Choosing the right architecture is also one of the criteria. Here we have chosen the architecture. We have changed the architectures, RCA, CLA, carry skip. No. But even architecture change is also not going to help you. Sometimes we have to go for algorithm change. Algorithm change. To make a very significant impact on performance. Okay. So this is a complete transition from a very, you can say very sluggish performance given by RCA to a very high performance given by a carry save adder. So carry save adder is the name fixed for only a stored carry format kind of an operation. Understood? So now if we give you, so now how do you combine? Now comes some more variations. We know. Now I can define any addition operation using stored carry format. And then first of all, I can understand it myself by using a dot notation on a piece of paper. Then if I ask you to now convert it into a circuit, then you have to make it in terms of a block level diagram. Where every dot notation 3-bit will be changed by a full adder. It's a full 3:2 compressor. You have to replace every 3 bits addition by a 3:2 compressor. So you have to make a carry save tree. How will you implement? Convert the algorithm now into a implementation. So carry save tree, it's a block level implementation. K bit CSA. 1 bit CSA means 1 full adder. K bit CSA means K full adders. And every full adder will be taking 3 bits as input and producing 2 bits as output. So depending on how you have gone through, which position you are adding when, the carry coming from this is added here itself. But the carry coming from these two, this one is not getting added in second addition. Can you see it is getting added only in third step. So you are not immediately taking the bit and then adding it in the next step. No. You may be storing it for some more time, maybe one more addition step or 2 more addition, then maybe adding it in a third addition step. This decision you can take. Nobody forces you to go through a certain way. It can be because it is stored. When it is stored, you can use it any point of time. Information is stored for you. How do you utilize it? How do you add it? Is you can make variations in that. And because of that, you can have different ways of carrying out a carry-free addition or a carry-save adder. It can function. We can have 2 different ways in which it can be done. Okay, like I have shown you the same example, but you can use a different, you can see there are two different hardware counts. Here you require a 7-bit carry save address, 28 full adders. A 7-bit carry propagate means RCA. They are using an RCA. So 7-bit RCA is being used, 28 full adders and 1 half adder. Same implementation when done in a different way. It may require 1 RCA which is 7-bit, 26 full adders and 3 half adders. So how do you add? Even then there can be a variation. You can have a variation there itself. So just for the sake of practice, just take this example and replicate it in your notebook. Do it on your own. Do it on your own. You are still taking 7 6-bit numbers. 7 6-bit numbers. First we are adding these 3. We are not adding these 3 in the same step itself. These are getting retained. Okay, as we were doing it in the previous step. No, in the second step, now these 3, this one, the 3rd bit, and then the last 3, they are getting added together. Remember in the previous, what we do? We were retaining this one. It was retained here. It was retained here. Only in this 4th step it was getting added, the last row. What are you doing in this situation? We are retaining it in the first step, but then this is getting added up in the second step along with other rows, other numbers. So as I said, how do you make a carry save tree is totally your creativity, designer's creativity. You can make changes accordingly. Your hardware count will change accordingly. Number of full adders you'll be using, number of half adders you'll be using will change. It will change. Okay. And the last step, it is your decision whether you choose a RCA or you choose a carry skip or you choose a CLA. It is going to be your discretion. Nobody says that you choose this. No, that's not a requirement. And in the case of an RCA, if I'm using an RB adder, where your digit set is -1, 0 and 1, naturally it will lead to, by default, more number of zeros. So it is a very rare case where you end up with having a worst case combination coming up for a RCA adder. If you do not have a worst case combination of the bits, RCA is the fastest. RCA takes time only when it comes across lot number of propagate bits, propagate combinations. If propagate combinations are minimal, RCA is the fastest architecture. Remember that. So what do you choose? What do you anticipate? Accordingly choose a last step. You can choose a parallel prefix adder also, Workstone or Brunton-Kung or Skalansky's. Nobody says, but you have to justify yourself whether this choice will be optimal or not. Okay. So now once we have known the way of doing an addition, a natural thing is to move on to multiplication, because multiplication is ultimately nothing but addition of multiple numbers. This is where a multiplier takes time. Otherwise, you can say simple multiplying with a multiplicand, it is only an AND operation. 1 multiplied to 1 is 1 and 1 multiplied to 0 is 0. It is simply an AND operation. One step AND operation. The delay comes when you add the partial product rows. So how many different, just as we have gone through the adder, we will also go through the different architectures of the multipliers. So many things you would be knowing, ultimately coming to Booth, where you start now changing the radix. You start combining the bits. That is another innovation done to multiplier. So one is using a carry-free addition in the PP rows addition. Second is changing the radix of the addition. This is what is done in the Booth. I think you all are aware of the Booth algorithm, where you change the Booth radix 2, radix 3. You can go for radix 4, radix 8. But radix 8 gives you fast addition. But it is not actually fast. The reason is what do you do in carry in the radix 2? Anybody has an idea? How do you calculate radix 2 Booth? Addition. What's the highlight of a Booth's multiplier? It is mostly inverting or shifting or inverting with shifting. Inverting with shifting. Either you are inverting the bits or you are propagating the bits as it is, or you are combining inversion with shift. And shift takes very less time in comparison to a complete sum and carry bit calculation. It's simply shifting. So we perform the addition through shifting. Multiply by 2, we get multiply by 2 kind of factors in Booth, in radix 2. Whereas in radix 3, it is not simply 2a multiples. You certainly also get the multiples of 3. 3a, how a is your multiplicand, 3a. Now to get a 3a, you have to get a 2a first. You have to get an a another and then add them together. So one more additional step to get a multiple of a as 3a. So when you go for high radix, you start getting other multiples other than the multiples of 2. In radix 2, we get multiples of 2 only. Whereas in high radix, radix 3, radix 4, you start getting multiples of 3, multiples of 5, multiples of 7. And to get those multiples, you have to generate 2 multiples first, 2a and 1a, and then add them together. That leads to another addition step. First is shifting to get a 2a. And then is addition, addition of 2a and a. That means actually radix 4 says I would be getting a better performance, but I get a delay because of these additional operations coming in. Additional operations coming in. That is the reason choosing the radix is also one of the major decision one has to take while designing a multiplier. But before Booth came, there were other architectures also. There were other architectures which people were using before Booth idea came into as a proposal. Okay, so we will see what are the other ways. So a simple multiplication. If I look at the multiplier, simple decimal multiplication, that too in a binary, in a binary format. So 2 binary numbers, and then you multiply. We all know, even a child will know how to multiply. Okay, so it's a multiplicand. This is a multiplier, and then we get, for every multiplier bit, we get a PP row. Because it is either 1 and 0, either the multiplicand comes as it is, or multiplicand becomes all zeros. When you multiply with 0, all 0 bits will come. And then we add all, these are called as partial products. And then we add all of them together to get the final result. This is a normal way we understand any multiplication operation. So how will you implement? Suppose I want to implement it as it is. What's the way? How would you do it? How would you do it? Create an array. Create an array. Very simple. I am not changing. I am not including any concept. Whatever is the way I have understood, I will implement. This I will say, I will call it as an array multiplier. So in an array multiplier, again I will have a 3:2 circuits, full adders or half adders. I will be working with full adders and half adders. So first of all, I need to generate these PP rows. So it is simply AND operation. You have to create AND operations. We have now the ANDing operations. Can you see AND operations? You are getting an AND operation over here. The AND operation, you are getting a bit over here. So this is, what is this Y1? What is X is your multiplier, so Y must be your multiplicand. X is the multiplier. Okay, no, X and Y are two numbers. Multiplier and multiplicand. X0, Y0, add it together to give you Z0. X1, Y1 to give you Z1. X2, Y2 to give you Z2. And then, can you see, once you are adding, then it is simply carry stored format addition. Carry stored format, that will look at this full adder operation. It is giving you a sum. It is giving you a sum, and carry is moving to the next bit. Now here it is. Remember, now you can immediately see that carry is going to next bit as a carry over. I'm not storing it. Okay, this full adder is giving me a sum bit and a carry over here. It is giving me a sum bit and a carry over here. This is giving me a sum bit, and whatever output comes, because for half adder, this will come here. So now if I implement, so can you identify the critical delay path? The critical delay path? Critical delay path, maximum delay will come from which path? There can be maximum paths. It can come from here, 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 here. Or it can be this way or this way. Or it can be this way and this way. Or it can be start from here, goes here and here. So which one is a critical delay path? In which your carry is propagating through maximum number of blocks. Maximum number of blocks. Now if I want to convert it into a stored carry format. A stored carry format where carry goes to the next bit position, but it is added only in the next step. It is added only in the next step. So this is an array multiplier implemented by using a stored carry format. So you are storing the carry bit, you are not propagating it to the next. You are storing it and carry gets added up in the next addition. In the next level of addition. This is what is a array multiplier operated with a carry stored format or with a carry saved concept. So again, can you see the carry coming from here is not going here. It is being given to the next level of addition. So whatever sum bit is coming from here, it is mixed with the carry coming from this block and is getting added up. So carry is getting added up in the next level of addition. So now at every point of time, you can compute the time for T multiplication. T multiplication, just to see the impact of the stored carry format. Okay. So how would you write this? Now, this is what I have written. Can you write it on your own? Expression for T multiplication. Expression for T multiplication. Here carry is going as a carry over to the next block in the same addition step. In the same addition step. You require n minus 1 time to AND. If there is a n cross n multiplier array, multiplier is n bit. Okay, n minus 1 time will be taken to AND. You need to AND. Every time one bit will go and AND it. One multiplier bit and you will AND the multiplicand with it. And at next time, the next multiplier bit and then again ANDing operation. Then the third multiplier bit and so you need to generate the partial product rows. You need to generate all the partial products. So this is n minus 1 T AND. And once you have got all the ANDing bits coming, now you need to add them together. PP rows addition. PP rows addition. So now it starts coming. N minus 1 T sum. And then there is a carry propagation is happening. So T carry. Now you need to understand this m minus 1 plus n minus 2. So you may choose m and n values and try to find out. May I leave this exercise to you? It can be done. Similarly, do the same exercise for stored carry format. Stored carry. And then just one request is that choose m and n values and try to see the difference. Assuming every step is 1 unit delay, calculate the number of unit delays required for completing the multiplier operation. Using stored carry format and using carry propagation format. Okay? Which one? Vector. What is a vector here? Vectors are nothing but your inputs. So you are merging them together in the sense it can be a kind of a, last step can be a simple, what is happening is, can you see? Output coming from here is going as input here, 3 bits and then getting input here. It's kind of an RCA, I anticipate. Look at the operation. It's no longer a stored carry format. The last step. It's the last step of your carry-free addition, where you always use a carry property pattern or RC at the last step, where you are adding two numbers together. So if your n is small, I can even use an RC, I told you. Otherwise, I would have to go to one more addition step to finish it off. No, if you are not using RCA, 3 bits will give you further 2 bits. So one more addition step would be required to finish it off. So now you need to take a decision whether you want to finish it off here itself by choosing an RCA, or you want to go to one more step. Okay, so vector merging means we are finishing everything in this step itself. All vectors are merged together into final result. So vector merging adder, it is here, this means an RCA, or it can be a carry skip, or it can be carry select, whatever you want to choose. But you are finishing the result here. Okay. So now next is what is the meaning of this multiplier? It's, can you see here, your multiplier has a kind of it is shifting. It is not a square layout. It will not lead to a kind of a square layout. Assuming every full adder is a block, as a square block, you are designing one full adder, then you are replicating it. So you will have a kind of a layout which will not be square in shape. It will consume more area. Why? Because actual area will start from here, move from here, and it will be till here. It's kind of a wastage of area here and a wastage of area here. To get a more compact layout, we want a square floor plan as far as possible. Squared floor plan. So again, it's a stored carry format, but then you require a kind of change in the signals. Inputs are changed. Otherwise, operation is the same. It's still a stored carry format, but you have tried to lay it out in a more square fashion. Operation is not changing. So try to change it so as to get a more rectangular or a square layout, which leads to a very compact layout. A very compact layout. Okay. So next is the LS and RS algorithms. Again, my normal algorithm is the way you do it as a decimal thing. And the approach implementation is an array implementation, array multiplier. Now we say, let me change it. Serial multiplier. Okay? Serial multiplier. Serial means generate one PP row, store it. Generate second PP row, store it and then add. Okay? Get the result. Then generate third PP row, add it to the sum that you already have. Then get the sum of 3 rows, and then generate the fourth PP row and then add. Kind of a serial operation. This you can implement by using minimal hardware. And we can do it in two different ways, left shift algorithm and right shift algorithm. There are two ways in which it can be done, a kind of a serial operation. We are not getting all the PP rows immediately and then adding them by using a carry stored format. No, we are generating PP rows one by one and then keep on adding them in an accumulator. Ultimately, after the 7th PP row comes or 10th PP row comes, the moment I add it to the previous result, I get my final result. So this is a left shift and right shift algorithm. Okay, you are aware of this algorithms, LS and RS. So we will do it in detail. I'm not prepared. I haven't prepared this topic for this class. So maybe next time we will take it up. How much time is left? We have 5 minutes. So okay, so I will leave the class and we will take up this LS and RS algorithms and how to implement it, because you have to form a kind of a tree, carry save tree will be there. But then it will be done by using minimal. You will see, you will not be requiring too many full adders because you will be generating PP rows one by one. It will be done by using minimal hardware. This will take minimal hardware. But if there are 7 PP rows, your final output will come after 7 cycles. Each cycle will give you an addition step. Suppose one addition step in one cycle, my output will come in 7 cycles. There would be a latency involved. But then hardware count will be minimal. I will be using only one adder. I do not need multiple adders over there. Just one adder and then keep on adding again and again. Okay. So we stop here. If you have any query, we can take it up right now. A query related to this class or any other matter you want to bring it to the fore. Yes, Goa students. So regarding your assignments, I think you would be more or less through or about to finish. Am I correct? Second assignment, you will be about to finish. No. Now I'm not getting a very concrete answer from all of you. At least not for Pilani campus. What is the status at the Goa campus?
We are doing.
You are doing.
Yeah.
So maybe put a tentative date of 15th of November for your submission. 15th November for your submission. Tentatively, because you still have 10 days to go. Yes?
Ma'am, 20. 20
will be too late for me at Pilani campus. Is it okay for Mr. Gavax over there at Goa?
Yeah, ma'am. So it's fine for me.
Okay,
Last
so you
I
may go
will
with
be,
20 at Goa.
Ma'am, last week I will be on leave. So I think between 20 to 24 I'll finish
You'll
up
be
every.
finishing up with all the evaluations.
Yeah, every
So this
before
time
24.
evaluation will be through a presentation along with a demonstration. Okay? Along
Yeah,
with the
ma'am.
report submission. So it would be a detailed demonstration that you have to give it to me. I expect from all the students. And there's a report submission you have to give it to me. We need to see what actually you have done, how you have implemented. And we would be more interested in looking at the newness that you have brought into your design.
Yeah.
The new things that you have tried and you are able to do it. Okay, and some drawbacks you can also mention, some shortcomings, things that you tried but did not work, that you can always discuss and we can see at least your effort we will be able to gauge from that discussion. Okay. So for my case, I am putting the date as 15th here at Pilani campus.
Ma'am, presentation can be in TP class. Is it possible?
Okay. Okay, that means we have to now set aside few lectures where we can have presentations.
Yeah, ma'am.
Fine. So I think Mr. Gavax, we have some kind of a discussion between you and me before we finalize.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. I think it's a good idea because at least the student will come to know what Pilani students and if they have done something extra, it will be good because newness can be shared with everyone. So
fine. So we will discuss with each other and then we will finalize your presentations. So
yeah,
presentations will be in the class regular hours and demonstrations will be in the lab.
Yeah,
Each team would be responsible to give me a demonstration.
Okay.
If I do not get a demonstration, if I do not get report submission, I will put your marks. I will cut your marks. Okay. So we stop here. Any other query you have? Each one will be now submitting a presentation. We'll be preparing a presentation. Let us keep that presentation time around 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and then we will stop. There can be further some question answers. Okay. And then the second team will come. So we have a 50-minute session. That means we can have at least 3 teams presenting on one day. 3 teams presenting on one day. So you have to now keep the time. Anybody who is overstepping the time, I think there would be a penalty. We'll give a penalty to him because we do not have time more than 50 minutes. Each regular hour is only for 50 minutes. So you have to plan yourself, plan your presentation, please. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so we stop here and I disperse the class now.
योगेश जी, योगेश जी, हेलो।